Understanding that has to happen between you and the offensive line. And
we aren't even a month into the 2022 NFL season, but several players and coaches have already distinguished themselves. While some of these players are attracting attention for the right reasons, others stand out negatively as a result of poor play or poor decision-making that is harming their respective teams. There is still time to turn things around during this lengthy 17-game season, but changes must be implemented soon or a season loss may be unavoidable. In this video, we're going to take a look at the players that have let us down the most so far this season in NFL. These are the players that you definitely don't want on your fantasy football team if you want any chance of winning. If you are new to our channel and love NFL as much as we do, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you never miss another video from us. Without wasting any time, let's get started. Number 5. Cam Akers, RB, Los Angeles Rams.
Here's a nice run by Akers. He's taken over the top running backs.
Cam Akers was one of the better stories from the Los Angeles Rams' Super Bowl run last year. While the second-year back was hoping to build on a promising rookie season in 2020, he faced major injuries during training camp with a torn ankle. Unfortunately, the 23-year-old hasn't looked the same since his devastating injury. After averaging only 2.57 yards per attempt in 4 playoff games last season, a healthier Akers have yet to improve in 2022. He was barely visible in the NFL kickoff game, logging only 12 snaps and a 31-10 loss to the Buffalo Bills. He rushed 3 times for 0 yards and was not targeted once as a receiver. Head coach C. McVay attributed the lack of usage to the game's rhythm and worked to get Akers more involved in Week 2 of the season. Darrell Henderson Jr., the other back in this platoon, appears to be a key contributor for the Rams this season. Henderson has outpaced Akers in each game so far, appearing on 69% of Los Angeles offensive plays compared to 30% for his backfield mate. Unless Akers has a breakout game and takes control of this backfield soon, he'll be one of the year's biggest disappointments at running back. Number 4. Kyle Pitts, T, Atlanta Falcons.
Fakes the inside handoff, has time to throw, throws it up one-on-one, and his man out-jumps.
Kyle Pitts became the highest drafted tight end in league history when the Atlanta Falcons selected him 4th overall last year. He rewarded the organization's faith with a promising rookie year as his 1,026 receiving yards were the second most ever for a first-year player at a position where immediate success has historically been difficult. Instead of taking another step forward in 2022, Pitts appears to be in a sophomore slump. 2 games into the season, the 21-year-old has caught 4 of his 10 targets for a total of 38 yards. Pitts has been limited to 19 receiving yards in each of the first 2 weeks, a total he exceeded in all but 2 games during his rookie season. Given that the Falcons have lost both of their games by a combined 5 points, a stronger start from Pitts could have put Atlanta at 2-0 instead of 0-2 right now. Head coach Arthur Smith is unconcerned about Pitts' performance, telling reporters that the ball will find Pitts more often, resulting in Atlanta victories, a prediction that the team desperately needs to come true if it is to have a chance at making the playoffs. Number 3. Matt Ryan, quarterback, Indianapolis Colts.
Ryan escapes, gonna run, has some room, and a touchdown.
Ryan began his Colts career by completing 50 passes against the Houston Texans. He only completed 32 of those attempts, gaining 352 yards and 1 touchdown while also throwing an interception and losing a fumble. While leading a furious comeback from a 20-3 fourth-quarter deficit to force overtime and ultimately end the game in a tie, the 37-year-old showed flashes of the talent that made him a 4-time Pro Bowler, but things looked much worse in Week 2. Ryan struggled against the Jacksonville Jaguars' defense, completing only 16 of 30 passes for 195 yards. He failed to lead a single scoring drive in the Colts' 24-0 loss, tossing 3 interceptions and taking 5 sacks in one of his worst performances in his 15-year career. The veteran quarterback told reporters that his performance is unacceptable, but that things will improve beginning in Week 3 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 2. Darnell Mooney, wide receiver, Chicago Bears.
Fields, good protection this time. Good ball to the sideline where Mooney is waiting.
Darnell Mooney was one of the few bright spots for the Chicago Bears during their difficult 2021 season. He established himself as the team's top wideout and began to form a friendship with rookie quarterback Justin Fields. Mooney appeared to be on track for an incredible 2022 season after racking up 45 catches and 605 yards in the final 8 games of 2021. Despite his advantages, Mooney has struggled to perform well. In fact, through 2 games, it's difficult to argue that no wideout has had a worse start to the season. The 24-year-old has only received 5 targets, catching 2 for a total of 4 yards. To put that in context, Mooney had 11 catches for 92 yards on 15 targets at this point last year. He never had a single game in 2021 with fewer yards than he has this season through 2 weeks. Poor weather is partly to blame. The opener was played in a monsoon at Soldier Field, and the following week's conditions at Lambeau Field were wet. But the Chicago passing game has been nothing short of abysmal across the board. Number 1. Nathaniel Hackett, head coach, Denver Broncos. In 2022, the Denver Broncos were expected to be among the league's most improved teams. The organization finally found the franchise quarterback and had been looking for since Peyton Manning's retirement 6 years ago by trading for Russell Wilson. The Broncos also hired Nathaniel Hackett to replace an ineffective Vic Fangio as head coach. Big things were expected of the new coach and quarterback, but the pair has yet to gel. For 2 weeks, the offense has been inconsistent at best, averaging a concerning 16 points per game, 3.7 fewer points than a sluggish 2021 Broncos attack led by quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. Wilson refused to blame his head coach for his own lackluster performance. The 9-time Pro Bowler has completed a career-low 58.9% of his passes for 559 yards and 2 touchdowns against 1 interception and 5 sacks. But it's difficult not to see the team's struggles as a reflection of Hackett's failures. The most obvious flaw in Hackett's game was his indecision with the game on the line in the season opener. With all 3 timeouts in hand and trailing the Seattle Seahawks by a point, the coach squandered 40 seconds of valuable clock time before sending Brandon McManus out to attempt an improbable 64-yard field goal attempt that fell short. The Broncos were trailing late in the 3rd quarter in Week 2, and while their indecision didn't cost them the game, it did result in a delay of game penalty on 4th and 2 from the Houston Texans' 36-yard line. Instead of going for the still possible 58-yard run in the mile-high air, Hackett sent out the punt team this time. If Hackett and the offense don't show quick growth and decisiveness, Denver's Super Bowl hopes could be dashed early in the season. So these are the players and coaches that has been a major disappointment at the beginning of the season. Although they have not performed well, but we are just in the initial weeks of the season, there's still a lot of time and a lot more potential that these players have within them. Let's sit back and watch their performances in their upcoming matches. We will cover all the important events from NFL and we'll bring out latest news and content for you, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so that you never miss any of the good stuff. Did we miss any player who had been underperforming this season? Do you think the performance of these players will increase in the upcoming future? Let us know in the comments section and we will pin the best comment.